blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen, cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
Welcome back to Blursed, everybody. Today is Monday, October 10th. I'm your host, Hayden Cummins, and today I'm joined by Aaron, as always, but for the first time ever in Blursed's history, for episode 20, we have our first guest host, Gray Schubert.
Yeah, that's correct. That is
That's
actually
correct,
how
yeah.
you pronounce it. Yep.
It's like the ice cream.
Wait, actually tell me how it's pronounced. 'Cause
There's a hard T on the end.
There's a hard
Schubert.
T there.
Yeah, but you can go the French route.
Schubert.
I want you to say it so I know.
It is
Yeah.
Schubert.
Schubert, okay.
That's what I've been told.
Schubert. That
And
could
what's
be wrong,
your
though.
It
what's
could
your
be.
social security number, Gray, as well?
Yeah.
Just so weird. That's what we always do that on the pod. Everybody
Oh,
gives
sorry.
out
I froze.
their
What was that?
SSN there. Oh, I just need your SSN and your routing number as well.
Oh,
Now
sorry. I
we got your
froze
full
again. What'd you
name.
say? Okay.
Goddamn, I would have kept buying that flight
Yeah.
for 10 minutes. I
Oh,
think
you got me on
we
a good
we've
one.
had our fair share of technical difficulties.
yeah.
Come on.
Sure.
It's 2022, man. This software's gotten really good. Well, you can't buy that.
No. Oh, but anyway, all right. So, how are you guys doing? We just witnessed yet another Falcons loss. We'll get into that in just a second. But otherwise, I've had a pretty good weekend. What about you folks? Gray?
It's been good. It's been relaxing, hanging out with the kid. Kind of just sitting around, sitting on my hands, waiting for the Braves to start playing again Tuesday. So
excited about
yeah,
that.
it's been a relaxing weekend. Not a lot of heartbreak yet, thankfully. So
Absolutely. Hayden, what about you?
Yeah, I just don't think it's any of your business what I did this weekend.
No, wow.
I didn't know that was an
Okay.
option. I thought we had to answer.
Hayden's always so like, oh, well, I'll tell you about my weekend since you asked. And now we get that.
Well, I usually get
Okay.
skipped somehow because
Yeah.
I'm the host, and then
Right.
we get pushed straight in. No, just watch some good footy, and also the other footy. I've been watching Welcome to Wrexham. Have you guys heard of this?
Yes, I love
heard
it.
of
I'm not caught up,
So
but
this is Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought a
Oh,
really low tier
Fourth
soccer
division.
team. Yeah, they're in like
No,
the
no, fifth
national.
division.
They're in the
Fifth division.
National League. In,
Yeah.
like that's part of the premier system in
yeah,
England.
it's the last
or
professional
in the
league.
UK. But it's really good, really funny. Kind of gives insight into like the inner workings of owning a team and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. So got into that a little bit. But yeah, besides that, just watching some fun baseball and rooting on the Dawgs and whatnot from out here in Colorado. So
That's right, baby.
we'll be getting to them here at the end. But what do you say? You want to start off with the Falcons here?
Yeah, let's jump on into the Falcons, unfortunately. So, the game literally just ended a couple hours ago. We went to 2-3, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know about you guys. It actually went better than I thought it was going to be with the whole Brady and Giselle stuff coming out, and the fact that Brady hasn't played super Brady-esque yet this year. Man, I thought we were going to get lit up. I thought it was going to be bad. And
And
it wasn't.
they kind of got their pieces back too. Did Godwin
They
play
did.
today?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
Mike Evans was back.
Mike Evans was back. I think they both scored, or at least I know. No, I'm not sure Evans scored. Either way, he had a lot of several big catches, and but yeah, and they did get up big. They were up 13-0 at the half. In fact, there was you talk about momentum swings. Going into it, there was 7-0 late in the second quarter, and the Falcons went to go kick it. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was 10-0. Still, though, the Falcons went to go kick a field goal. Koo actually missed, and then they get the ball back, drive down the field, and kick a field goal as time expires. So we had a nice little 6-point swing there against us to end the half. So we go down 13-0. And then
That's 2 weeks in a row with a coup miss too, right?
It was, yeah, that's true.
It's a little unusual.
And so, but yeah, no, I mean, I thought second half wise, though, they looked a lot better. It did not get out of hand. They kept it close. They go up 21-7, but then in the fourth quarter, the offense got clicking, the defense got stops, and we go down, we score, we get the 2-point conversion. It's 21-15, and I'm thinking, okay, this is kind of same old, but maybe we're actually going to able to make this happen. Yeah, we're applying pressure. We're on a 2-game win streak here, but one of the most egregious calls I've ever seen in my life, and of course it went against us, happened when the Falcons, it was 3rd and medium, I think, and there's 3 minutes left to go. And I'll be damned if Grady Jarrett didn't get a clutch sack to give us the ball back. But they call a roughing the passer call. And I know we talked about it before we started, but if anybody listening hasn't seen it, go look at it. Tell me if you think it's roughing the passer, because it's a regular sack. He got him from behind. It was one of those where, he didn't come clean through him. He just kind of wrapped him up around the waist and took him down with him, and they called it roughing the passer.
It was soft. That's the only way to describe it.
If anything, it looked like an enjoyable sack. Like if you're gonna get sacked, he kind of spun him around. It looked like he enjoyed it for a second. He went down softly to the ground.
Yeah, they did a little pirouette together.
If anything, they should have called taking care of the passer, which they need that. It gives you 10 yards. Yeah,
I mean, with what's going on in Tom Brady's personal life right now, it's the most amount of contact that he's had.
Wow, that is
true. So that is true.
He's not that bothered.
Did you think of that beforehand? That was good.
No, that was off the rip, bro.
That was off the rip. We love it. Yeah, so and then
it was terrible.
Yeah, so then 15 yards, first down. They ran out the clock after that.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. It feels like that kind of snuffed out our comeback before we even had a chance to get the ball.
Yeah.
And you hate to see a game end like that. That has happened a fair bit in the NFL. There's obviously like the call a couple years ago in the playoffs, the Saints got nailed with like a obvious pass interference. They literally changed a rule after that where you could challenge pass interference after that. Oh boy, but
it didn't matter that day.
It sucks. I mean, honestly, the guys played it close. The defense looked pretty good. They kept Tom Brady in check. I mean, while the Bucs have been struggling a little bit throughout the year early, what do you guys think? I don't feel like the Bucs are that much better than the Falcons. Like very much think that we could beat them in Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
and compete for the division.
I mean, they are not the Bucs we've been accustomed to since Brady's been there. The defense is still good, but that offense is, and yeah, sure they've been plagued by injury. And then if a lot of people want to say that Brady's affected by the personal issues, who knows if he is. But they're not what we've been seeing. They're not who won the Super Bowl or what they were last year. Yeah, I mean, the division, I don't want to sound like Blake here, but man, the division might actually be there to take if the Falcons could learn to close out games.
I mean, we're right there.
I mean, and that I was gonna say, Aaron, that scamper by Williams, the touchdown before the egregious call that actually is going viral right now. So I do wonder if that could be some kind of NFL review process type call where that was a pretty monumental shift in momentum and obviously standing.
It literally, I mean, you can't say so much that the Falcons would have won, but it certainly it may not have changed the outcome of the game, but it sealed the outcome of the game.
They lost by 6.
15 unanswered points there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's a couple things I'll hit on before we have to get into the negatives. I will say Arthur Smith, what we've seen from this team being able to make comebacks and keep games close, especially falling behind early, it seems like they make good halftime adjustments, which is pretty promising. And that's something we've definitely complained about from Atlanta United struggling in that regard. So won't have to get into that too much, Aaron. But I mean, so that's encouraging because the best coaches, they're able to see what's going on in the game, make a quick adjustment, and then get back into it or extend the lead. And the second thing, the way that Art reacted to that pass interference, or the roughing the passer was fantastic.
It was.
Oh my Lord, he may get fined later this week, but obviously,
did you see that? Billionaire,
doesn't matter. He's got
I did
the
not
money.
see it. How did he react? I'm surprised.
It's the most I've ever related to him. It's the most I've ever seen him be a human. I mean, he's just he dropped down to his knees or squatted. He's got his hands over his head. He's just looking like, I mean, it was like I said, it was the most I've ever related to the man. It made me like him.
That was the most adversity Arthur Smith has ever faced.
Oh, by far.
We're trying to curse less on this podcast, just as we get through it. But yeah, Arthur Smith called the head official a witch, if you know what I'm saying. Kids.
Okay.
Kids muffle the ears. There. Yeah. In honor of Halloween coming up here shortly.
Ooh, good. Yeah.
Wasn't quite as nice But yeah, I mean, I like the fire that I saw out of
Yes.
him in that moment, and like, I mean, obviously he knew how big of a moment it was.
Oh yeah.
It's unfortunate that's how it played out. What's
And refreshing to see. I was just gonna say, refreshing to see that anger that we had been seeing that directed at the appropriate area. I
yeah,
was
the
getting real
officials, not the
tired.
media.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not the media and the Atlanta fans. Like, yes, he actually did something relatable there. I loved it.
Well,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Tom Brady threw the ball 52 times today,
Gosh, I actually
and
didn't even
the
see
Falcons
that.
defense held him 21 points. I mean
That's a great point.
that's one of those hindsight points. Like if Tom Brady's going to throw the ball 52 times,
Yeah.
you would think it's a barn burner and it's not going to be close. But
What? How many did he complete? I didn't go look at his box
35.
score. Okay,
35.
so I mean,
and 10
yeah.
of those to Fournette. So a lot of that was just
Yeah, some
bailout,
dink and
check
dumps.
down. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But no, still though, that's a great point. If they're going to air it out that much, that is, and to Hayden's point too, with the halftime adjustments, it's also been another key thing, not just offensively, but I felt like the defense specifically gets better as the game goes on in each game we've had this year, and that's obviously how you come back when you're down, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's been nice to see from Dean Pease.
I wanted to hit on I hinted on like the disparity between the two teams and like even like power rankings coming into the season. Falcons were ranked last in a lot of those, and the Bucs are ranked definitely in the top 10. I would say coming into the year and probably into the past few weeks. And they have household names: Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, like guys you've heard about for years.
Oh yeah.
Our departed Russell Gage. But
Yes.
but I'm impressed that we stuck with it. One stat line that's tough to see, and we can't get more than 15 completions in a game out of Mariota. And
so
as someone
bad.
that loves passing the ball and watching like good pass play, it's tough to watch. His stat line ended up being 14 for 25, 147 yards passing, 1 touchdown. He did add 61 yards rushing, but typically I want my quarterback to be a quarterback and not a running back. That's just me.
Yeah. Old school.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, especially when it's Mariota. I mean,
right, exactly. Yeah, if Josh Allen is back there, then a little different story.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Oh man. Yeah, Josh Allen's nuts. I think Josh Allen probably threw for 147 yards on it, like his first 3 possessions today, which that's an unfair comparison because he's probably the best quarterback in the league right now. But
yeah,
it's tough. It just feels like a different sport almost when you watch like the Bills offense or like an offense that's actually able to move the ball.
Yeah.
And do focus on multiple facets of the offense. But I feel like we're gonna. I mean, obviously he didn't turn the ball over or do anything super egregious. He did almost have a big fumble, but it he kind of like basketball dribbled it back into his chest somehow. So he's gonna escape with that for now. So I can't grill him on that too hard.
Right.
But it just feels like our potential is definitely capped while he's still at quarterback. What do you guys think?
I agree with that, and we've talked about the Ritter thing. Blake pointed out that there was some inside source. Blake has his sources, but that said that the Falcons, it's not like not an option. It's not something they're not talking about. And I think the quote was, "It is close. It's being talked about." That's not to say he's going to start next week, but I do want to say that with how well we came back yet again, even though it was a failed attempt, we had to do it in ways we haven't done before, given that we do want to run the ball because of Mariota's deficiencies. And we weren't able to do that with Cordell Patterson being out. But we still, instead of throwing the ball, how many times did he throw it last week? It was like 15, right?
Yeah, I think he was like 7 for 19 or something crazy.
Excuse me. But so, he completed as many passes this week as he almost threw last week. Didn't turn the ball over, but I'm just saying it is nice to see, like you said earlier, them finding ways to get back in the game, even when you're without key players.
And I wonder what the game today looks like with Cordero healthy, just as much of a game-changing playmaker as he's been.
Which, wow,
Kyle Pitts.
to say.
Kyle Pitts.
He is.
I know he is.
Yeah, Pitts.
he is.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Kyle
even though-
without Pitts blocking, like what does
Yeah.
what does that game look like?
Yeah, that is
Yes.
why we drafted him.
although Pitts is not putting up huge stat lines, like obviously the defense has to account for him. They try to get him out of the game plan. So that may have had some effect on Drake London only getting 35 yards, but when you only pass for 147, it's not much to go around.
Not much to go around there.
So
Yeah,
maybe we'll see some movement on the Ritter front. Hopefully he's close to getting ready. I think you don't want to make that transition until you're ready to stick with him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You don't want to go back and forth. Barring any injuries.
No, that's a great point.
But I mean, also it could happen kind of how the Steelers got a burst of energy from Kenny Pickett coming in last week.
How did that go today?
It went very poorly. Yes.
Kenny actually played well today, though. To be fair.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he actually played well.
Okay.
As well as you can play in a 48-10 blowout.
Yeah, it was against Buffalo. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense was atrocious, but
yeah, there's not much you can do running into that buzzsaw, and honestly, you don't want that to be your first start to your career either.
Yeah, no, that's that's kind of what we're trying to avoid is the 38-3ing by somebody when Ritter gets in there.
Yeah, not
which
fun.
What have y'all heard regarding the QB camp? I know we don't have Blake's sources here, but I mean, is Mariota like comfortably kind of in the driver's seat here, or what indications have they given?
From what I can recall Blake saying, and from other things I've read myself, is that it isn't so much Mariota's skill or what he brings that makes them want to keep him as the guy. It's that apparently he's a big leader in the clubhouse. I mean, that's what's, I'm not in there, and of course the coach isn't going to say, oh no, he's a real, I mean, okay,
right.
We're going to keep it clean. They're going to say things about their quarterback that are what you want your quarterback to be. But that's also coming from places outside the head coaching position and stuff like that. So maybe that is true. Maybe they're doing it because he has veteran leadership despite what mediocre product he puts out there. But beyond that, yeah, apparently that is something that Arthur Smith and co have been tossing around the idea of. But who knows how close to that they actually are.
Yeah. And I mean, he hasn't been amazing, but here the division sits, Bucs 3-2, Falcons 2-3, Saints won a bit of a shootout with the Seahawks today, who surprisingly good. I wouldn't have guessed that before the season started. But,
No.
And it took the Saints, scoring 3 Taysom Hill touchdowns to pull that
That's
off.
so true. Yes.
Not saying that that's not like a viable option, but you would think teams would figure that out.
You would.
Maybe he's just really good. I don't know.
It is strange.
I don't know. The Falcons have looked good, and the division is, they have a tough test next week. I think they're playing the 49ers.
Yep.
Who look like world beaters right now, kind of top class in the NFL, but
they do. They beat the hell out of the Panthers, right?
Yeah. They're killing them. And that defense is nasty too. So if we're going to see the Falcons offense really struggle, it's probably going to be next week. But if they don't, I mean, that's a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is who we've got next week?
Yeah, we got the 49ers at home.
Oh, boy.
So
then the Bengals.
Yeah. Bengals have been struggling a little bit to start the year too, but I feel like they would use our game as a rallying point maybe to turn their season around.
Right.
But, I mean, obviously they have a lot of potential. They have really good pieces as well. So, yeah, we got the 49ers, Bengals. Then we have the Panthers, which we definitely 100% should beat the Panthers. Then the Chargers, and then Panthers again. So the next 5 games, it's kind of a mixed bag. But I mean, I would hope that they take 2 of those games at the least against the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, if we want the season to turn out how it kind of can now, with the division being not very good at all, you got to. Yeah. I mean, you've got to win the other game against Tampa Bay at home, and you got to beat the Panthers maybe twice.
I got to say that opening game now is harder to look at now, knowing what we know about the Saints and how they struggled.
How it went down.
Yeah, so that 1-point loss opening week is tough because I definitely think the Falcons are the better team now after seeing multiple weeks.
Oh yeah.
I don't think either Aaron nor I projected the Falcons to beat the 49ers. What do you think going into next week? They just looked really good.
But we also, I don't know. This Falcons team is weird, man. The 49ers are obviously going to be they're better than the Rams. The Rams have not been the Rams we thought they were when we played them in week 2. And then, it seems like this team has that ability to come back. I could probably see it going the same way, but that 49ers defense is nothing to play around with, though. So, I mean, if we do get blown out, we get blown out. But, I'm just looking for a close game. Maybe Mariota doesn't turn the ball over so much.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be an L. Gray, what do you think?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think next week you see what you can muster against probably a Super Bowl bound team.
Yeah.
I mean, if you pull off the upset, that is a season-changing win. But even if you keep it close, I mean, that's all you want to do, because then they ride that into the Bengals. We'll see how they look tonight. But I was looking right here. I mean, they have Panthers. They're terrible. They look terrible.
They do.
Maybe Baker figures it out midseason. You have Chargers, which they have not lived up to expectation. That's winnable. But then there's a stretch starting November 10th with the Panthers, Bears, Commanders, Steelers. All 4 of those I would consider very winnable games from the Falcons' perspective. So,
100%.
And then that leads back into the big Saints rematch on December 18th. So,
yeah.
I mean, you can drop this 49ers game, and you can even drop the Bengals game, and I still think you're in a good position based on their schedule for the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking down the line, you're reading those off, and even the last 3 games of the year, Ravens, Cardinals, Bucs in the last week. I don't think the schedule is as good as what we thought it was coming into the year.
That's a good point.
As far as the Bucs not being quite as good as we thought, the Saints were like a highly regarded team coming into the season too. The Ravens are probably the best team we have remaining on the schedule, beside maybe the 49ers. But yeah, I mean, like, none of those teams are like that scary, I don't think, and we play every game close. If we start putting together how to win close games, boy,
yes,
we might be undefeated.
I'm telling you, which is just a wild thing to say. But
what was the pulse, the Blursed pulse on the Falcons preseason? Was it a 5-win pulse?
Yeah,
I know Blake got him to like 9 wins. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Blake was.
We inflate Blake's numbers each time we.
Oh, it's 11. My bad. It was 11.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, no, but it was like, I think Hayden and I settled at 5, and then Blake said 7 and 10 now. But then he made that caveat of, I could see it being 9 and 8 though.
I mean, I could see 7.
Yeah, I could
from
see
today's perspective. I could see 7 for sure, which I think would be a good season.
After what we've seen, I definitely think like the 4.5 mark for the preseason over, like that would have been a good bet. So I think you're sitting pretty if you did make that wager.
I've learned not to bet on the Falcons.
That is a great call.
You don't bet on the Falcons.
No.
You only want your heart broken once.
Yeah. Although, hey, what was the spread on today's game? Because going in, we were the only team in the NFL undefeated against the spread.
That's interesting.
To that point, we were 4-0 against the spread coming into today.
I wish the division was based on beating the spread. What would that look like?
Oh my God, we're in first
Wouldn't that be
place,
fun?
Maybe. Yeah, that would be sick.
The Bucs were 6.5-point favorites.
Okay. So
wait,
they beat it.
Oh wait, no, they were 6.5. So it's Falcons plus 6.5. Yeah,
gamble on the Falcons.
5-0.
Hell, okay. Now that we say that, everybody's gonna bet on the Falcons, and everybody's gonna lose their money.
Don't do it.
Yes,
gonna lose your shirt next week. All right. Anything else we want to touch on with the Falcons before we mosey on over to a different sport?
No, I think it is promising to go, but yeah, I'm ready to go to a sport where we're actually in the playoffs.
Yeah. All right, let's bust it out with the Braves here. If you didn't already listen to our playoff preview, go check it out. It's episode 19. Blake and I did a rundown of what was going on after the Braves clinched their number 2 seed and their 5th consecutive division title. So it's been fun to watch. The guys ended up playing really well down the stretch of the season, getting into that spot. We definitely have the better side of the bracket to be on.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's officially set. The Phillies swept the Cardinals in St. Louis, so tough look. I didn't really have a preference. I think I said the Phillies I would rather face just because big brother syndrome, and I don't feel like that's a team that we fear.
No,
and I don't.
Although they did perform well against us in the second half of the season, but but no, you're 100% right. I'm right there with you.
But they're two main starters, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, both came out and they shoved against the Cards, and they didn't really have much for them. So, unfortunately for those older gentlemen on the Cardinals, going out with a bit of a whimper after some really impressive careers.
R.I.P. Pujols there.
Yeah, so now we are playing tomorrow, or today, if you're listening to this on Monday morning. We are playing Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern time against the Phillies.
Oh, wait, I thought it was Tuesday.
I think it's Monday.
Are we playing Monday? Okay, either way, yes.
Yeah,
keep rolling.
Play Monday and Tuesday.
Sick.
So because they had an additional day off and not having to go to 3 games, we'll be probably facing Ranger Suarez, I'd imagine, who's their kind of number 3 starter, lefty. It kind of tracks well for us, I think, because our lineup is actually pretty successful against lefties. And Matt Olson also is like probably one of the best lefties in the game against left-handed pitchers.
Yes.
So that's good in the heart of the lineup there. What are you guys' thoughts going into the series?
Grayson, you want to start off here with more of a baseball head than me?
Hayden, it is Tuesday and Wednesday on these games,
which
is important.
Thanks
just
for verifying.
And let me check. Have you guys heard on Strider? Because I guess that is
I've
probably
not.
the big wild card for this series.
The rumor going around right now is that he's going to be ready. So I would expect him to make at least 1 start in this series. So
that's awesome.
Good. And that extra day hopefully will buy him a little more time. I know the obliques are tricky, but an interesting stat. I didn't realize this. If this is correct, this is the first time the Braves have played the Phillies in the postseason since 1993.
Wow.
Which, predates me. So that is, I didn't realize that. That's pretty unbelievable. If that's correct, somebody can fact check me on that.
No, that is crazy to think about.
I'll take that.
Can we just go with it? What's wrong with it?
We're just gonna run with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a big, obviously interdivision rival. 2 of the most successful teams in the division over the past 30 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a 70-30 split, but better than the Mets, better than the Marlins for the most part. Marlins won a couple of rings or whatever, but
weird. That was so weird, right?
But it would be fun, if somehow the Mets get through tonight, get through the Dodgers, we go through the Phillies, go through the Mets, basically play the entire NL East.
Yeah.
I like the advantage that gives us, and I like the advantage of having played these teams 16 times during the regular season.
Yeah.
Especially the Phillies, just seems like we've dominated them for quite some time. So,
I have an opposite reaction to playing the Phillies and Mets. While I did say I would rather play the Phillies and the Cards, there's something in the back of my mind that goes, if we lose after winning the division to one of our rivals within the division in the playoffs, like it's hard to live that down.
Not only that, but the 3rd place team in that division.
Objectively, that's more important. Like I would say.
To
win the playoff series, then win the division.
Right.
And the Phillies, I think, won the same amount of games, or maybe one less game than we won in the regular season last year. So, crazy things happen in the playoffs.
So let me ask you guys this. I brought it up earlier, and I didn't see much about it, but didn't the Phillies acquire Syndergaard?
Yeah, he's on the playoff roster.
So do we know any how his availability is going to be, whether he's out of the bullpen or if he's going to actually be a starter or what? I know it's Wheeler and Nola, obviously, the main